Good day to everyone. Today we're gonna speak about all heroes in Darkest Dungeon 2, ranking them from worst to best. Let's not waste time, let's go. Let's open up with a Plague Doctor. We got Wanderer, Surgeon, Alchemist, and Physician. Wanderer is by far the weakest one, so we're gonna place him in tier D. Alchemist is by far one of the best classes in the game, S+. The amount of burn and blight on the Alchemist is just insane. On top of it all, you got healing. If played properly with the right composition, this is one of the strongest classes in the game, subclasses. Surgeon, Plague Doctor, would be a melee healer. There are better healers in the game, and for sure, there are better melees in the game. Surgeon takes tier C. The last one would be Physician, crowd control Plague Doctor. If you assemble a team that's gonna profit out of stuns, out of days, combo them up okay, like with Man-at-Arms, with Bounty Hunter and so on, then this is a good class. But in most cases, a lot of players will suffer with Physician. It's a tricky class to play, and that's why I'm gonna put him on a spot tier B. Next one would be the Grave Robber. We got Deadeye, we got Venom Drop, and we got Nightsworn. A Wanderer Grave Robber will end up in tier C, slightly better than a Wanderer Plague Doctor. Deadeye is by far the best Grave Robber in the game, S tier. Venom Drop is very tricky to play and it's gonna end up on tier B. A lot of players will have problem to assemble a good team around Venom Drop. Nightsworn is absolutely brilliant. Tier A would be the choice. Now we got a Highwayman. We got Rogue, we got Sharpshot, and we got Yellowhand. Highwayman is probably the best, if not the best, hero in the game. First Highwayman would be the Wanderer. Wanderer is very weak, unfortunately, so tier D for a Wanderer. The next one would be Rogue, absolute S+. Point blank, riposte, switching positions, huge crits, tanky, reliable, S+ without second thoughts. Sharpshot and Yellowhand are very similar. One is a shooter, the other one is a bleeder, bleeding enemies. Both are tankier versions, cause let's be real, Highwayman is a off tank. So the Sharpshot would be tier A, Yellowhand would be also tier A. Next one would be Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms is absolutely insane, one of the best heroes in the game. So let's begin with Man-at-Arms Wanderer. One of the weakest parts of the Wanderer would be lack of skills, as well as everyone else that I'm putting up in tier D. So Man-at-Arms Wanderer ain't that good, but Vanguard would be S+. Why? It provides damage, it provides taunt, it provides armor, and his stress heals. Okay, you got everything from Vanguard that you're gonna need to finish every single chapter there is. I know, because I've spent 300 hours in a game and I had multiple successful runs, 20, 30, 50 runs, I don't even know anymore, on both Infernal and Torch runs. Vanguard is S+. As far as Sergeant and Bulwark go, Sergeant is extremely weak and I would put him like on tier C, while Bulwark is slightly better, and that's why he's gonna end up in tier B. Next one would be Hellion. Hellion, we got Ravager, we got Berserker, we got Carcass. In other words, we got a Bruiser, we got a Bleeder, and we got a pure tank. Trickiest one to play and by far the best. Let's rank them up. First one would be the Wanderer. Wanderer is actually tier B and it's probably the best Wanderer class that you can take out of all heroes. Next Hellion would be Carcass. Carcass is S+. If you know how to play, if you know how to taunt with proper trinkets, this is one indestructible subclass. Pure tank with non-stop taunts and crowd control. If you wanna deal damage with Hellion, then it's gonna be Ravager. Ravager would be S tier. And at the end there's the bleeding Hellion. Bleed is probably the weakest damage over time effect in the game, because let's be real, Blight and Burn are OP, so bleed until it gets buffed. This Hellion cannot go higher than tier A, alright? It is good in cases of a boss if it occupies spot 1 where you can stack up bleeding and hurt more and more with every next hit, but right now this is the max that I can put it up, tier A. The next one would be the Runaway. Runaway comes with Arsonist, with Survivor, and Orphan. You'll burn enemies guaranteed with Arsonist, you'll be hard to kill, and you'll have better heals with Survivor. And on the Orphan, depends on the position, you can hurt a lot or you can deal better burn damage. First one would be the Wanderer, very weak, tier D. Next one would be Arsonist. I would easily put it on S+ or S, I'm still undecisive to be honest. I believe that Arsonist is slightly better than Orphan. They both do similar things, it depends how you wanna play, okay? If you come with a breakthrough quirk, for example, then it's Orphan on S+ tier. If you play without that quirk, then it's the Arsonist, so it's a bit tricky class to play with. Arsonist is like a safe bet, and that's why it goes on S+, while Orphan needs correct quirks and correct trinkets, so I'm gonna put it on S tier. Survivor, I'm gonna put Survivor on tier C, cause it's an absolute garbage. The next one is our personal favorite for all Darkest Dungeon players, the Jester. We got Wanderer, we got Virtuoso, we got Soloist, and we got Intermezzo. In other words, we got a buffer, okay, crowd control, buff your allies, we got damage dealer, and we got bleeder. Intermezzo is best played with a Runaway if you wanna heal up after the bleed, because you will inflict bleed on your allies every time when you buff them up. A Wanderer Jester will occupy tier C. Our bleeder Intermezzo will occupy tier A. Virtuoso will occupy tier S, while Soloist, damage dealer, is an absolute S tier with brutal crits from Solo and Finale. The next one in line would be Leper. The Leper, Wanderer, we got Tempest, a damage dealer, we got Poet, a pure tank, and we got Monarch, an even better tank that's gonna deal a lot of damage to cosmic enemies. Cosmic enemies are all the bosses in the game, basically, and the hardest enemies in the game. The other problem with this, you won't be able to deal any damage with your Leper during other enemies, okay? And there are 9 types of enemies in the game. Monarch is extremely tricky to play and one of the best classes in the game also, but it's not for a newcomer. Wanderer Leper will occupy tier A, is the best Wanderer hero in the game by far. Tempest, our pure damage dealer, will go on tier S. If you know what you're doing, Monarch is S+. Extremely tricky for a newcomer, but Monarch is really that good. At the end, we got Leper Poet, which can occupy tier B, because it's absolutely tricky to play and quite useless. You need a specific team composition that don't switch places for Leper Poet to work, and you need to kill a specific boss for this Poet to actually work. The next in line would be the Occultist. The Occultist, Wanderer, Ritualist, with a lot of buffs and debuffs, Warlock for pure range damage, and Aspirant for melee damage. Better to say, this is a tanky Occultist. A Wanderer Occultist will occupy tier B, very useful as a Wanderer class for the beginners. Warlock is all the way up to S+. Absolutely amazing damage, especially with his ultimate skills. Ritualist, I would say, goes to tier A because it's very tricky to play. At the end, we got Aspirant. I would also put him in tier A, melee tanky Occultist. Now we can speak about Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter, if played as ranged and if you got burned in your team, for example with a Runaway, ranged Bounty Hunter is tier S+. As a pure tank, he is probably tier A, alright? Or, better to say, as a melee. If we take into consideration that he's OP from the start and you can take him by only one map, so we pick between ranged S+ and tier A melee, the middle option would be tier S for a bounty hunter. Speaking about Vestal and Flagellant, I could make them into tiers, but the developers, they already said how they gonna get the actual numbers for the subclasses and better explanations of what they do. They're both the same, you can't tell what they do. They just said it buffs specific type of spell and so on. Okay, they do suck compared to all other classes. Alright, you need to know what you're doing, and you need to have a specific team for a Vestal or for a Flagellant. They're both gonna change during the next patch, so it is ungrateful to talk about Flagellant and Vestal. I would avoid for new players to completely ignore these two classes. You can play them if you wanna have fun, okay, and you can maybe go with a Flagellant Maniac. I would put him on tier A because I played him a bit, and maybe a Confessor Vestal, okay, but everything else I would recommend to completely avoid until patch arrives and we can see the actual numbers, because right now it's extremely confusing to play with Vestal and with Flagellant. What I can also say, if you wanna think Flagellant doesn't provide an armor when he taunts, while all other tanks provide armor during taunt, like for example Carcass from Hellion or Man-at-Arms Vanguard or a Leper Monarch, alright, they are tankier than Flagellant. That's the first thing. If you're gonna go with Flagellant in back ranks, rank 3 and 4, again, they are better classes than Flagellant. They're gonna do range damage. Now, same can be said about Vestal. You wanna go as a tank up front, it's not as good as other classes. You wanna go behind as a healer and a damage dealer, both Runaway and Plague Doctor do it better than Vestal. These two classes are the newest ones after all, okay? First it came out with Vestal and then they released Flagellant with a full release. I guess they're gonna change them drastically in the next few patches, so that's why I don't even wish to talk about them. This is what you need to know and how you can play the game right now and what's good and what's not. What I would recommend is to check out some of my full runs, both Infernal or Torch runs, no matter how you wanna put it, and I would recommend for you to take this game slowly. The next thing that I'm gonna do is the ultimate guide for the Darkest Dungeon 2. This was just ranking all heroes and subclasses from worst to best. If you found this video useful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.